Hey everybody, I'm Ned, and welcome to my YouTube channel about all my wacky cars. I still think of myself as a punk kid who, just started a bunch of businesses and works all the time. But in the past few years, I've accumulated a bunch of wacky cars that I really enjoy working on and doing funny things with. So I'm starting a YouTube channel, but before I get into all of those, I wanted to do this car. This is a 1998 Honda Odyssey minivan. It's an EX. I bought it, I think, 10 years ago. It has like 228,000 miles on it now. And I think I actually spent more money outright on this car than any other car that I've ever bought. It had 114,000 miles on it when I bought it. Now it's at like 228. I haven't driven it in about a month because, maybe it's a little less than that, because the power steering rack started leaking fluid right onto the catalytic converter, and I was worried that it might burst into flames. But I've kept this thing going for a long time, and I have a really high tolerance for like dysfunctional cars, automotive dysfunction. So I'm gonna walk around this and run through some of the like dumb things that I've done to this car, and just how ridiculous it is that I've kind of kept driving it and kept it on the road. All right, it's hard to know where to start really with this thing, but I'm gonna start up here. If you can see closely, it's rusted out all along the top of the windshield, because for a long time I used this to move kayaks and my rowing shell, rowing on the ocean. And so I dripped tons and tons of salt water all over the roof of this car. And so for the past several years, when driving this van in the rain, it'll actually leak around the windshield and drip on me while I'm driving it. I mostly drive it as a winter vehicle, so once it freezes out, like, that's not a big problem. But driving it in the spring and autumn, you get wet a lot, and you'd think that might be a concern for the vehicle's wiring, but not much of the electronics on it actually work anymore anyway. You can see it's rusting out down here on the bottom of the door. I took the seats out long ago because I was using it basically as a utility vehicle to deliver wine. So at this point, I don't even know where the seats are. I haven't had them in forever. When I originally got the van, you can see right now, like, I'm above the roof of it, my eye level. I haven't actually grown any taller in the 10 years since I got the van, since I was 25. The van has simply gotten lower and lower. The springs are completely worn out. The shocks are blown. It practically rides on the bump stops now, basically because I used it for moving so much wine over the years. You'll notice this rear trunk is not the same color as the car. That's because the rear window broke, and Honda doesn't, or there isn't an aftermarket supplier for glass for these anymore. So it would have cost like $1,200 to get a new window from Honda. So instead, I just got a whole new rear hatch from a wrecked van. It's rusting out. I think you can see that right up there, all along the top here. The hinges are about to just rust off of it. That's how they've been for, I don't know, forever. One of the struts there that holds the trunk up, that broke, and I just never got around to fixing it. So I'm going to balance this on my head, kind of, and that's why I have this wiffle ball bat here to prop. Hopefully that'll, oh, maybe that'll, is that gonna stay? There we go, yeah. So I have this wiffle ball bat, which I use to keep the rear hatch open. Yeah, you know, more rust, whatever. All right, cool, let's go drive it. Okay, I haven't fired this thing up in a while, so hopefully, oh, I need that, that's for my WRX. So, let's see. I bet it'll just fire right up because it's a Honda. Great, brilliant. I mean, that's why I still have this thing. It smells in here. It smells like mildew. It always smells like mildew in here because of that squealing will probably go away eventually. It smells like mildew because of the leaking from the windshield up there. You can hear the power steering pump right now, kind of complaining because it probably doesn't really have much fluid in it. The rear brakes have probably rusted, kind of sort of stuck on, so that'll be interesting. Oh boy, yeah, power steering pump doesn't like that. Yep, I can hear the rear brakes grinding. It's horribly hot in here from this eggplant colored purple van just sitting in the sun. Kind of bouncy. I should try to run over something because that's the best thing about this vehicle. I don't even know the last time that I changed the oil, and the ABS does not work on it. That stopped working years ago. I don't know what happened. But what's great about this is that, you know, I bought it for $4,200. Like, oh wow, it's blowing smoke everywhere too. I bought it for $4,200 10 years ago, and you know, I've put over 100,000 miles on it. It's taken me to New Orleans and back. It's taken me all over the place. I've used it for my business for that whole time. I actually sold it to someone for $350 last year, and after about 4 months, they gave it back to me. They were like, look, you know, it's been great, it's been reliable, but you know, they just didn't want it anymore. It was too uncomfortable to drive. The radio doesn't work. What else doesn't work on this? Rear defroster doesn't work. Rear windshield washer doesn't work. The sunroof doesn't work. The AC doesn't work, but I never use AC anyway. That's not. I live in Maine. What do I need? I wish I had AC right now, actually. Feel something shaking in the suspension. The brakes are actually nice and feel pretty solid right now because I just replaced a caliper in the back like a week before the power steering started leaking. The caliper was screwed, it was seized, the pads were worn down just to bare metal and stuff, so I just in order to drive it, I had to replace the caliper, so I figured, screw it, I'll do that. But yeah, so I should try and, I don't know, the best thing about this van is that, you know, I've already gotten way more value out of it than I paid for it, than I've spent maintaining it. So it's great because it's a vehicle that I don't need to care about it. Like, there's been several times that people have run into me. 2 times that people ran into me in traffic. One time that a friend of mine backed into me in a parking lot and, you know, dented the side of the van. All of those times, you know, I was just like, I don't care, you know, like, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna make an insurance claim. I don't care about this van. It gets me around, and that's it. That's all I care about. So, if it wasn't for the power steering, I would keep driving this. I would keep limping it along. It's inspected through the beginning of next year. But I'm pretty sure that to get in there and replace the power steering rack, like, the van is it's just not worth that. And I'm having a baby, and there is nowhere, obviously, to put a baby seat in here. So I think I'm finally done with this Honda van. I will take the snow tires off of it because they're brand new, and I will sell this for scrap. But I've had some awesome times in this, and it has been incredibly reliable, like incredibly like valuable in terms of creating value car. I'll pull over here in the parking lot and rev the motor so you can just appreciate the awesome sound of this 2.3 liter single overhead cam VTEC. Let me roll the windows down, pop it into neutral. Yeah. Oh, and it died. Well, that's awesome. Hey, it came back. See, that's what I love about it. It comes back. This is the last year of the first generation of the Honda Odyssey, in which Honda, you know, basically they were like, we need a minivan, we need one right now in the mid-90s. So they took the Honda Accord chassis and just built a minivan on it. So it's got these awesome doors that open out like a normal car. And it's got a 2.3 liter four-cylinder out of the Honda Accord. The earlier ones had a 2.2 liter. This one, the 2.3, is definitely, I think they only put it in the last year, the 98. It was definitely the one to have. Anyway, so that's it. I'll start trying to get my stuff out of this thing now. Get it ready to go to the scrapyard.